So I know a lot of people have probably seen in some YouTube videos or somewhere on the internet that you can make money online by just doing a bunch of surveys and just getting compensated for responding for these surveys. The reality is that while some of these websites that give you surveys are legitimate and will pay you for doing these surveys, your hourly rate while doing online surveys will end up being something along the lines of $1, $2. If you're really lucky and you qualify for a lot of these surveys, maybe $5 an hour. And that's not great. That's way below minimum wage in most of the developed world. Plus, obviously, if you have concerns about your privacy, all that data that's going into the online surveys is probably going to be sold. So as a matter of fact, while there are a lot of legitimate sources to do online surveys, you're not going to be getting excellent rates. And in fact, if you're the wrong demographics, you're going to get disqualified for a lot of these surveys. There's some websites that don't disqualify you and rather inform you when they do have a survey available and allow you to answer it without getting disqualified. However, you're not going to be able to just sit down for 8 hours and just do surveys all day. You get a survey whenever you get a survey. So instead, I found a much better alternative that I'm speaking to you guys about today. Instead of participating in online surveys, you should start looking at focus groups and marketing research groups in your area or online. Often, companies are looking for a diverse cast of people to give their feedback on all sorts of products or advertisements, and they're willing to pay you a lot more for your time. In fact, if you're selected for one of these studies, you could be compensated for $50, $100, $200, $300 for somewhere between 30 and 90 minutes of your time, which is an hourly rate of over $60, which is amazing. Now that's an hourly rate, which I would want to do. And the thing is, a lot of companies are looking for people of specific professions. So the fact is, no matter what your profession is, eventually there's going to be some sort of study that you may qualify for, and you may be exactly the person that a company is looking for to get feedback on their product or on their advertising. However, I've seen all sorts of companies looking for all sorts of professionals. They've looked for business owners, they've looked for construction workers, for chefs, for people who work in the restaurant industry. So no matter what your profession is, there's probably a study out there that you can qualify for. Likewise, if you unfortunately have any medical conditions, well, obviously there are a lot of research groups and a lot of universities that are actively doing studies that require people with medical conditions. Or even if you don't have any of those, they may want someone for a control group that doesn't suffer from any medical conditions. And of course, the nature of these focus groups may vary. Some may just be a simple 1-hour interview with you or with a group, and then you get paid for that 1 hour. Others may be a study that pays way more, but they require you to maybe keep a weekly diary while you're doing something that they want you to do, or they're tracking your behavior for an entire week or for weeks at a time. The nature is going to vary, but the thing is, obviously, you get to pick and choose what you apply for and what you participate in. Well, you may be asking yourself now, that sounds cool and all, but David, where can I find these studies? If you're in the US, focusgroup.com is a wonderful source where you can just input your demographics, your data, and then they'll send you a qualification survey whenever they think a certain study matches your profile. If you qualify for a study, you may get contacted by the organization seeking to do the focus group. This includes a lot of focus groups that are online as well as in person. So if you live near any major cities, you're probably going to find some focus groups in person. And if you don't worry, you're going to find some online ones for sure. There's also respondent.io, which is amazing. It's a set of usually interviews where they're seeking highly qualified professionals or people of a certain demographic or niche to interview about products, about research that they're doing, and they can show you exactly how much they're paying. And the qualification surveys are usually just 2 or 3 questions, and then they'll email you if you qualify for it. Plus, if you know any friends of yours who qualify for that study, you can refer them to the study and get some money yourself because you helped find someone who did qualify for the study and helped out the researchers. There's also user interviews, which just like Respondent has a very nice web interface and you can find all sorts of studies there. And Respondent and user interviews work internationally. I've seen them seeking people from specific places or nationalities to actually talk about their experiences. There's even some studies available exclusively in German and Portuguese and Spanish. So Even if you don't want to do a study in English, there's potential to find some in your native language. And likewise, if you live near any major universities that conduct research of any sort, well, keep an eye out. When I was in college, I happened to make some money because I knew some people studying psychology who needed people to interview and to participate in quick studies. So if you know any college students, you can actually just go and ask them, are you doing any research groups? Are you doing any focus groups? Can I participate? Or, as a matter of fact, companies and universities and clinics are always going to be doing trials since they're always going to need to learn more. So the fact is, this method is going to be viable at all time. And don't worry, you may not qualify for a lot of these studies since they're usually looking for a very specific person. However, once you do, the compensation will far make up for the time you spend trying to qualify for other studies. And the compensation is great. Let's just say I qualify for 2 studies per month. One of these studies pays $100 for a 60-minute interview, and the other one pays $200 for maybe a 3-day journaling activity where I have to behave a certain way and then journal and then log some entries into their system or whatever for behaving that certain way. Well, that's $300 that I made in 1 month that I didn't spend all that much time making. Can you make a living purely out of doing these studies? Well, for most people, the answer is going to be no, unfortunately. There are some studies that pay a lot, but they're also looking for incredibly specific people. That being said, you can make a couple $100 every single month just by taking a little bit of time out of every week to apply for these studies or to participate in them. Over the course of a year or a couple of years, that will add up to thousands. To me personally, this is one of the better methods to get some gas money, some grocery shopping money, and whatever else I would need. So as a matter of fact, maybe online surveys don't pay so well, but you can find something that isn't all that different from an online survey that pays way more and is way more worth your time. The only thing to consider is that some of these studies will have different payment methods. Some will give you a $10 Amazon gift card for your time. Others will give you $50 in cold hard cash. Others will give you a check, so you may have to be flexible in how you receive your payments. Do you know any other good websites where you can find focus groups for yourself, or have you participated in any interesting focus groups? Please tell me. I want to hear and I will respond to all your comments. So if you're interested in seeing more content like this, remember to subscribe and hit the bell button to get a notification every time I post a new video. I will be posting fairly regularly on all sorts of stuff, including side cash, investing, and personal finance. So please stay tuned for more, and I'll see you on the next one.